this. Well, that takes away that creativity in the way they can teach. We need that. The kids must have that. The teachers, if you were a teacher, you would teach different than I would. And my teacher. But you would teach things different than the way I would, but I would do it the way I can be effective in it. I worked so I took my degree and I worked in an area of kids with special needs. What I did is I didn't just have one school district I had to work with. Okay, here we have the county school district. We had multiple school districts in the county. I actually had to handle over 10 to 12 different school districts that we dealt with. And what we did is we looked for different ways that we could find to make them more streamlined in what the school districts do. We could save them money by providing a better service at a lower price. And any money that we would profit or make, we give back to the school districts. So I've been involved in a lot of different ways of saving districts money, and different ways of doing that I can bring forward to what we do here. So we have a problem coming up with being a teacher shortage, staff shortage, and it's not just the teachers. You have janitors, you have bus drivers. We have a lot that goes into educating our kids. And we have to take care of all that. Well, we can't do that if we're not fiscally responsible with the budget. Well, we have a budget person, as well as I've been in the budget, different aspects of it, and that's what we need to do to ensure that we can afford to keep the teachers, but to hire the teachers that we need as well. So we talked a little bit about we'd like to pull in some teachers, we don't have the teachers for it. Well, part of the problem is maybe we can't pay them enough because maybe we didn't hand our money. And my kids, I have one that just graduated in the spring last year from Albany High School. I have one that's in 10th grade, and I have one that's going to graduate from the University of Wyoming here in the spring. So we've been through a lot. They have gone from a school that got 81% of their students were proficient in math, in English, and so on and so forth. So they went to a really good school before we came here. Do you know what the rates are here? Math, 46% of your kids come out proficient. 46% compared to 81 is what my kids got until they moved here. We can do better. We shouldn't just look at, oh, well, we were above the average in Wyoming. No, let's look to what the whole country's doing. We can do better than 46% or 64%. And we have to do that. So I dealt a lot. We dealt with getting kids with special needs services that they needed. I was heavily involved in getting the funding for that so that we could pay the teachers and so on and so forth, and the one-on-one aides, the TSSs, the BSCs, behavioral health specialists, that type of stuff. We got the funding for that, and very, very creative at times. I've dealt with insurance companies, I've dealt with the county, different county governments, federal governments, you name it, we've dealt with it, and we've driven through that. When I say we need, but so I also, now I do a little bit of database design, and I deal with medical manufacturers, people who build tables for offices, deal with eye doctors, I deal with cyber schools. We deal with what's called intermediate units, which deals with all those districts I talked about, school districts directly. So you name it, we deal with those companies, but we try to help, and what we do is consult, and then we take what they're doing in their factories or in their office, the HR department, so on and so forth, and we make it better, more streamlined using technology. So I feel I also can bring that to the table for our school board. And the biggest thing we noticed was that there's no communication from the school board, right? That's what we hear. We hear constantly, there's no communication. We want communication with each and every parent, and especially the county. They have absolutely missed it. I'm from Centennial. I know a little bit about being outside of the box and what people are looking at. I want to be your voice for it. We all want to be your voice for it. It's not just me. Every single one person here also looks to that. If we're going to go back to the board, is there, I have a flyer here somewhere. It doesn't even mention parents in what they're looking at. Yeah, they talk about the students, and yes, they are the important. They're the crux of what we're trying to get through here. But we must talk to the parents. We must understand what they want, what they don't want. And we've got to listen to that. A couple of school board members, they have said that the parents should have no say in the reading material that's in the schools. And I'll show you the names of the people who have said that. But everybody is on with those people. They're running as a slate with those people, so they also believe it as well. They think the teachers and the librarians should absolute top to bottom decision making on what is in the schools for your reading materials. So I'd like to look at, number one, can we afford to pay teachers? Can we also be physically responsible enough to ensure that we can bring people to our schools, the high quality? But I also think we need to look at what's on the teachers' plates. Every time we throw something on the teacher's plate, Do they check and see if it worked, if it helped, if it raised the scores, if it raised the students' education? No, but the teachers must keep doing it. So I really want to take a look at what's on the teachers' plate and kind of relieve a lot of what that is not doing any benefit for them.
That's going to be a tough act to follow. We all agree we need basic education, we need parents to be involved, we need parents to speak up. My name is Mike Schilt, by the way. I've lived in Laramie for 63 years. I've got roots in this community. I used to work on some ranches not too far from here. My wife and I raised 6 kids. We homeschooled, all 6 of them. And so when people asked me to run for school board, most of them knew that I homeschooled their kids and wanted to know why we homeschooled. So I told them it's a parent's choice. If a parent wants to take their child to a public school, a charter school, a homeschool, that's the parent's choice. Now in homeschool, the parent picks the curriculum, so that's an no-brainer. But when you put a kid in public school, the parents should still be having some say in that curriculum, and they don't. And they don't anywhere in the state, as far as I know, not very often anyway. But that's what we want. We want to try to give the teacher, the voice to the parents, be the intermediaries between the parents and the schools, well, the superintendent, I guess, and then he takes it to the schools. These people all care about kids. I can tell you for a fact, some of the school board members that we have don't have kids. And some of the things they've said would show that they really don't care about the kids. When they mentioned that there is a problem. There is a tremendous problem. And the things that we want to teach, basics, math, reading, writing, arithmetic, sciences, the basic sciences. We've created a problem over the years, many years. This didn't just happen overnight. This problem's been going on for 50, 60 years. But we told children that they have all these rights, but they didn't understand the rights in the context they were given. And then they didn't learn that there's responsibilities that go with those rights. And we need to teach kids, you do have rights, but you have responsibilities to those rights. And that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the children learning to be responsible, and of course, again, that's going to come down to the parents, because you don't teach a child respect in school if they're not getting it at home. So, anyway, my name is Mike Schilt. I'm running for school board. This is the group you want, and we're open for questions.
Okay, so there's 7 seats open on the
Yes.
ballot.
So there are 7 seats completely open, and usually you vote by area. And you guys would have only voted for at-large or Area B. This year, that's not the case. You will also vote for Area A. So you will end up voting for all 7 seats on your ballot this year. So that's why all of us came out here and not just Tom and Leo, is because we want you guys to know us in the county. I just wanted to add to all of ours, something we didn't mention was we also want to make sure that our kids have access to specials.
Definitely.
You know, the libraries, the music, the art, the drama, PE, all that stuff. I personally would not be the person I am today without music. I have been playing the piano since I was 5. I was involved in every drama play. I think since I was 4 was the first time I was in the Pied Piper. I traveled, the opportunities that I got in high school, I went and sang at the Lincoln Center in New York City. I went and traveled 7 countries in Europe playing in band. And then after high school I went and, I don't know if you guys have heard of them, the Continental Singers. They're a Christian-based group. And I traveled 38 different states in 3 months and did 102 concerts with this group in churches. So that was just something we didn't mention, and I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that we also want specials to stay and be available for our kids, because they're huge opportunities for life. So, do we have any questions?
I have one more thing I'd like to say.
Go for it.
I'd like to speak to the comment about not everyone needs to go to college. I recruited 2 students today. Both of them dropped out of UW because college was not for them. and they wasted, I don't know how much money and time. And now they decided, you know what, I always wanted to be involved with airplanes. They both signed up today to learn to fly. That's proof that not everybody needs to go to college.
I'd like to make a comment,
Can I add something real quick, that just because?
because it's going with his.
Oh, yes, mine is, yes. So if you look at, if you talk to people in like the admissions in the University of Wyoming or others, they will tell you that Laramie has a very high dropout from the University of Wyoming compared to other schools. Well, because our prep for college is not to where it should be.
I agree, college prep, you know, and things go, flow and ebb, and of course, we are not a big enough school district to be able to do this. But my husband was from Cincinnati, so we lived in Cincinnati off and on for probably 20 years. And at one point, when I thought, before my kids were born, all the school districts got together and actually had the Great Oaks School District. And what it was trade. They had to take English, they had to take the required, and then they took machining, hairdressing, or whatever. Now when we moved back, when I had children, and my kids were actually in the Cincinnati Public School District, which is a very minor, 99%. They had they had the regular elementary schools. Then they had a few special schools. They had the School of Creative and Performing Arts, which you had to audition for. I got one of them in there. The other one wasn't that way. But what they also did with the high schools, they had one high school that was basically college prep. Then the other high schools of course there's a lot of high schools. I mean, that's a big population, I get that. But then they had, the one my youngest son went to was communications, which was newspaper writing, TV production, and that kind of thing. In fact, he told Jerry Springer to get off his set. He did. Yeah, and one for teachers' aides and different things like that. They even had this, but because of the river, there was even the special school for whatever you do on barges.
Yeah.
But they tried to get kids to graduate, and they still only had 200 kids a year graduating. Out of about, how many, 10,000? You know, which was ridiculous. You know, 200 out of each high school. But they were trying, but they didn't have the parents. That's where the big problem was. The parents themselves never really had the education to push the kids, except for certain parents that were successful in some way. But we need to do that. We need to say, well, you might not want to go to college. You need to know these, but maybe we can help you do something else. We've got the ag program up here because we've got ranch kids. But we still need to teach. And home ec is now what? Family life skills or something. But we need to teach this stuff.
We also need to teach children how to balance a checkbook.
Well, that's what I mean, life skills.
Financial literacy, yeah.
Or even how to read a clock with hour hand and stuff. Most of these children nowadays don't know how to read a clock, how to count money back.
Oh, I know.
Using a calculator or a register.
I hate to say that. I know how to count money back, but math was never my forte. I'm glad I have a calculator.
I went to Ridley's one day, and the lady typed all the numbers in, and she looked at the dollar bills and the coins, and she had no idea what to do with it. And I had to teach her while I was the customer, but I told her exactly what it was.
I have that problem over here at the store. When I used to work over here when Roy had the store, I had that problem. And it's like, oh, I understand it if they're this big, but once they get up here, they should know.
One thing I'd like to, hopefully, can't really bring it back into school, but the kids, parents and all that need to be taught about the family dynamics at home, at school. I mean, there's a lot, I've come from a broken home and all that, but still they need to learn respect.
Yeah.
And that's not even being presumed in the schools anymore. They, yeah, with the teachers, there's no discipline, no nothing.
What happened to the yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am,
Thank
no,
you.
ma'am?
That's the parents right there.
Yep.
My daughter is on that, she's having a hard time, but she'll get it.
See, but that's what they need though.
They
need
do,
parents, need
they
schools.
absolutely do, I'm not saying that's how I was raised, but I was raised with respect, with yes and no,
And
please,
that's what's
thank
lacking
you.
in our schools.
Yeah,
Is
it-
there's no
it is.
respect, which is also why the teachers are struggling to even teach our kids, is
Yep.
because they're having to, there's no discipline, there's no support for
Yep.
discipline, and there's no respect.
And unfortunately.
Like I was telling Tom, my principal had a paddle on the wall, and he used it.
The thing, this has been going on for a very long time. My best girlfriend was a substitute teacher in the Denver area. And I mean, we graduated in high school in 1969, so we're talking the 70s even. And she refused to go back into Denver public schools to substitute teach because the kids, I think she got pushed or something by the kids. They had absolutely no respect for her, she was afraid to go down there.
And we're not
And
saying,
we're talking the 70s.
Right.
and we're not saying the teachers are the problem here.
No.
The
No.
teachers are restricted. They
Yeah.
have so much on their plates, we need to bring back that creativity, we need to give them
Oh, yeah.
the reins to say,